my speech verbatim. But after just going through the cognitive dysfunction session, I'm rethinking that maybe a little bit. I have all guns a-blazing right now. Focus, focus. But hopefully you won't be too tough of a crowd on me. So, you know, as survivors here today, we all have our individual stories to tell. And my story really revolves around two main issues. The fact that I was diagnosed when I was 31, and the fact that when I was diagnosed, I had a 3-year-old son and an 8-year-old son. Those two issues in my life, you know, they changed my treatment, they changed the outlook on my diagnosis, and every day when I wake up, they changed my view of the world, basically, in general. You guys probably heard the Steve Jobs commencement speech being replayed, and one of the things that he mentioned was he wakes up and looks in the mirror every day. And, you know, if he looks in the mirror and he says, I'm not really liking this, if he says that too many days in a row, he starts to rethink what it is he's actually doing. What can I change in my life to make sure that what it is I'm doing I enjoy and love to do? So let's begin. So this is me. I loved being pregnant. I was one of those women who showed off my belly at any given opportunity. And my first son, Demos Denny's, who goes by Demo, was born in 2001 in Lake Tahoe. When he was 1, we moved to Melbourne, Australia, where I was doing my graduate degree. And he still has huge love for adventure and travel, and has really gone through this whole process with me. I feel like we've traveled the world together, and this is just another thing that we're doing together as a family. My second son, Zeno, they're both, you may notice, Greek names. Zeno was born in 2006 at Stanford, and yeah, they are unequivocally the love of my life without any sort of hesitation. You know, leading up to my diagnosis, I was pretty busy, you know. I was working full-time, taking care of these two guys. I was coaching soccer. I ran a couple marathons. I was still active rowing as much as I could. I was a rower in college. And so I was kind of going. I was thinking about going back again to school and finally doing the doctorate I'd always told myself I was going to do. And then in January 2010, I felt a lump, as many of us do. Very innocuous, just okay, no big deal. I finished nursing my youngest son about a year prior, so I figured, okay, just a clogged milk duct, no big deal. I'm going to do the wait and see approach. I'm not going to panic. So I decided to wait until the beginning of March, end of February, and the one lump had doubled in size, and I had 2 more. Okay, this isn't quite right now. Something is amiss. So, you know, went in for the first appointment with my doctor, and thank God she said, something isn't right. Let's go figure this out. And I wasn't discounted, which does happen to a lot of young women. So went and had the mammogram done. Something suspicious. Okay, I'm thinking something. So let's just figure this out. No big deal. Then comes the biopsy. Okay, now we're entering the twilight zone here, because this is not my reality. This was not the story that I had written for myself and my life at this point. And then, the floor dropped out from under me, hit the brick wall, and everything changed. It was like the pre and the post, right? And had to sort of figure out what was going to be happening at this point. You know, getting through the disbelief and just complete shock and awe of what was going on. It was a haze, you know, and that haze did really continue for about 8 more months. And I think really that was a coping mechanism for me to not really face my own mortality to the degree that I was being presented with. So, kind of scraped myself up off of the floor and went on a very aggressive fact-finding mission. I love research, and I love being analytical and doing cost-benefit analysis. And so for me, this was like, okay, I'm going to treat this like, you know, my friend Nikki has breast cancer. What does she need to do now? So I mistake that everybody does. Do not Google your diagnosis at 3 a.m., people. It leads to some very startling statistics, especially, when I looked at, it's in my lymph nodes already, and I'm going to die, it's all over, I need to write my will, I need to do this. And so, luckily not soon after this, I did find Breast Cancer Connections, and I found Colleen and all the other amazing staff who already spoke this language. This is new to me. Nobody in my family has had cancer, let alone breast cancer. I couldn't even tell you what a lymph node was prior to. So, it was great to kind of know this place, this, safe mecca of information existed. And that was when I sort of did start to get more and more involved with BCC at that point. So this was what I was basically facing. I'm a bit of a cancer lawyer when it comes to diagnoses, so if I ask you what your diagnosis is, hopefully you won't be too offended, but I had infiltrating ductal carcinoma. I was very strongly estrogen positive, and hindsight is 20/20, but thinking through those pregnancies, how if I had, when did the cancer come? Was the pregnancy feeding the cancer? I mean, you can drive yourself nuts, right? Thinking all those things through. And I was HER2 negative. I was BRCA1 and 2 negative. And sitting this morning next to Frank at this table, your name sounds really familiar. Your name sounds really familiar. Frank was the one who emailed me and told me that I was BRCA1 and 2 negative. So very small world out there. Great email to get to. And it had spread to my lymph nodes. So I knew that before I began any treatment, basically. I went and got a second opinion, and then I went and got a third opinion, because I needed to kind of make sure this was all right. Because truthfully, I was waiting to get a phone call from the doctor saying, oh gosh, we mixed up your slides. This is, I'm so sorry that you had to go through all this, but, it was actually Nikki Talistoff. And, we made a mistake. Again, I think that was very strategic denial on my part, just kind of hoping that it would change, and the reality of what I was going to be faced